I'm gonna rob this place. I don't know where I'm at.
And then go where?
Yeah.
Right. No car, no nothing.
Yeah.
So I do this, and the waitress got wind up. I guess I stabbed her in the arm because she was moving too slow. They told me.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I don't really remember that. Mm-hmm. I do remember the manager coming at me and trying to tackle me, and I stabbed him in the shoulder with the steak knife.
Yeah.
And so I made him drive me. I kidnapped him.
Millie makes songs, hey, I made this one. Jerry builds bikes and they go real fast. They're mental defectives.
Welcome to the Mental Defectives podcast, a show where we interview interesting individuals with a focus on addiction and mental health. I'm your host, Milligram. That's Millie if you know me, Mr. Graham if you know me. Joined, as always, by the Hodor of Harleys, the gearhead with the heart of gold. It's Mr. Jerry with a G.
Glad to be here.
And today...
Hold on.
I'm holding.
You should hit that like and subscribe button if you, dig what we do.
Mental Defectives podcast, wherever you get your social media, because that's where we is, Mental Defectives podcast, because...
And now, brought to you by the House of Hope.
That's true. Because today we have a very special guest. He keeps it cool in the summer and hot in the winter. He's a sober HVAC technician and House of Hope alumni who can put up with Jerry for 40 hours a week, so he's basically a saint. Please welcome Hugh. Hugh, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Good,
buddy.
man. Appreciate you coming on today.
Sure.
Hugh, where are you from?
From Columbus, West Side.
Oh, the Hilltop. Hell yeah.
Hilltop. Yep. Hilltop
like it.
and Bottoms, right in that area. Well, ran around all the West Side, really.
I like it.
But I grew up on the Hilltop.
And Hugh, when was the first drink that you can recall?
My first drink, I think it was, my dad played music a lot. And he was, when he wasn't in the bars, he'd be at the house playing music and him and his buddies. And I always watched them drink and get loud and laugh and just had a good time. I never seen a bunch of violence. Mm-hmm. And I remember stealing a beer once. And I got it. I liked the smell of it. I liked the taste of it. And after it was about halfway done, that warm, fuzzy feeling came over me, and I loved it. Mm-hmm. And I ever since then, it was on my mind.
Yeah.
And, it didn't just start every day, but I was in the 5th grade then. And probably 6 months after that, I went to middle school, and I found out, drinking. I'd run into stores and steal Mad Dog 2020 before school and go by the railroad tracks and drink it. And then I just wouldn't go to school, and I started doing that and getting in trouble for truancy from school. And where I grew up is a place called Moneyback. And there's older guys out there that was probably, you don't want to have your kids run around with them to say that. They don't work, they don't go to school, they ride around in the cars, smoke dope, drink beer, and had a woman and pop pills and run from the police. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. I thought, and then I started hanging out with them, and they started showing me things to do, like breaking cars. Back in the day, CB tape players CB players and 8-track tapes.
8-tracks, yeah.
Which was hot then, and I'd break in cars and steal them and give them to them, and they'd give me money or alcohol or pills. I was taking pills at an early age too. Mm-hmm. A lot of Valium and Percocets.
Do they have Quaaludes still back then?
Yes.
Oh!
1-4s.
What were they?
Lemon 1-4s.
Oh, yeah. Made popular by the Wolf of Wall Street.
Right.
That's one thing, like I always wanted to try Quaaludes, and it was just before my time.
Yeah.
They was a mess, man. It messed you up. I remember the first time I did one was I was in heaven. That feeling I got.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just, I remember blacking out and waking up and I'm in jail or somebody's house I don't know, or all beat up and don't know how it happened.
Right.
So yeah,
Wow.
that was my era back in the 70s, and I was where was I at? Okay, I was I'd break into these cars and stuff, and I started, I wasn't real good at it, so I got caught a few times and got sent down to 50 East Mountain Street, and it's downtown Columbus. Used to be a detention center. And I remember going in there, in and out a lot from truancy from school and truancy from home. I ran away from home because my parents was trying to crack down on me, and I just wouldn't listen to anybody.
Yeah.
And so you know, I started getting get in there, and they signed me out. But I remember the first time I was there, and they shut them doors, and I was laying there on that little cement block in that itchy wool blanket, and I remember crying because I wanted out so bad. Mm-hmm. Then I remember the minute I got out, I forgot all about that.
Sure.
Funny how we do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
A warm, fuzzy feeling I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went after it. And it started being a habit of me going down to 50 East Mount Street. The truancy from home and the truancy from school turned into breaking and entering, carrying criminal tools, possession of narcotics. And I started getting temporary commitments to the youth center. Then you know, I graduated. I'm eating pills and I'm drinking probably, say 13, 14, most every day. I run away from home for months at a time. My parents don't know what I'm doing or where I'm at.
Where are you staying when you're
On the street
okay?
or or on somebody's couch. Usually on the streets. Yeah, and you know, in the winter it wasn't real fun. But usually I found an old garage or something back here. I'm sad to say, but that's what I did. You know, and you do what you do, I guess. And at the time, I thought that was fine. I wanted to do that. You know, and the disease took me places out. You know, I'm amazed that I lived through. And started doing that, and then I quit breaking in cars, and I started breaking in y'all's houses. You go to work, and I'm one of them guys that I go in there and tear your TV up, you know, disrespect you being in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, at the time I didn't care about that.
Yeah.
You know, now it's, you know, recovery and you know, responsibility. It's real disrespectful.
And this is back when they had big like box picture tube TV. You're not pulling like a 40-pound flat screen off the wall.
No.
You're taking 100-pound plus
Yep,
probably.
Yeah.
and the big speakers, stereos.
Oh, yeah.
The receivers and the record player and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had to have a vehicle. You wasn't walking all that stuff. You know.
So you got to steal a car before you break into the house.
I usually do, or have one of them guys wait out for me. See, they took advantage of me. I thought they was my buddies.
Oh
Older
yeah,
guys.
what do they got, like 25 or something? And you're 14.
And
they're
so
going to send you in to
they
get
pull
crazy.
the car around, and then I
Right.
get everything by the door, and then I have them come, and then they back up, and we throw it in, and
Yeah.
they take off, and then they go sell it and give me, you know,
Little
whatever
bit,
I want.
yeah.
10%
You know?
of what they got,
Right.
probably something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then that's what was it, and I was all right with that for a while, and you know, then I'm getting a little older, a little more wise, and you know, I kind of quit doing all that stuff. You know, I'm tired of grabbing stuff and having to sell it and then getting this, and I'm starting to say, man, them guys ain't doing me right. They got more than that out of that, and so I'm probably 16, 17. And I'm starting to break in these places, stealing copper. In these apartment complexes that's being built, I'd go in there and rip all the copper out of it, destroy the place, and cash in the copper.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good money, I can say.
Yeah.
I mean, I get $500 or $600 between just me and then the other guy get $500 or $600. And you know, we did that, and then I hooked up with the guy that had an old car, and we filled the trunk up and the back seat up, and then we go cash it in the next morning. And we did that for a while, you know, stealing. I stole everything. I'm one of them friends, if I hang out with you and you lose something, I'll help you find it. But I got it. I stole it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, you know, it's, I wasn't a very good person back then. And, but I would do that. Then probably a couple months before I turned 18, we broke into this trailer construction site, and it had rolls of copper and all kinds of copper piping, plumbing pipe, and we made about 4 trips in that car and put it in my mom's garage. And my mom and dad's divorced by now. I'm 17, almost 18, and I remember sleeping because I'd go to my mom's house every once in a while, and she'd feed me, and you know, the tough guy I am, that's what we do. We go to mommy's house.
Yep.
And so I was doing that, and one night we it was getting kind of hot. They was getting close to busting us, so we wasn't going to sell the copper yet. We was going to wait a couple weeks, and a couple of the guys that we took with us decided they wanted to cash some in, and I guess get that warm fuzzy feeling too, and they cashed it in, and they got caught, and they give us up, and I got woke up by my mom telling me to get the hell out of bed. Somebody wants to talk to me. I went, and there was the cops at the door, and they walked me into the garage and asked me what this stuff was, and I said I had never seen it before in my life.
I
I don't know what the hell that is.
1,200 pounds of
Yeah, and
copper came from.
it was of course they knew they had two guys' testimony against me, me and the guy named Junior, and they all copped out to it, and I was the tough guy. I don't tell on myself.
Right.
So I'm the smart one. Yeah. So they all get shock probation after 6 months, and I could have too, but I got in trouble, and they sentenced me to 2 to 5 years, in reformatory. Back then it was reformatory. Your first time, it was Mansfield Reformatory.
Oh, okay.
The old
Yeah.
prison.
Oh yeah, where they
Yeah.
do the
Yep.
incarceration.
Yep.
And
Yep.
oh wow, okay.
With that haunted house or whatever it is.
Yeah,
They get
Yeah.
I've
you
been
down.
there a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And that was still operational then?
Yes. And it was, I wouldn't call it operational. they had a bunch of us in there.
Yeah.
Let's say that. I remember getting on the bus and everybody's telling me about it. And we drive down this road and they say it's right down in a valley, a big castle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So we drove down there in that long road,
Uh-huh.
and damn, it is a castle. I'm
It
thinking,
is.
man, maybe these guys are telling me the truth. I'm getting a little nervous, so I put that mask on. I'm a tough guy. And most of the time I'm scared doing all these things I'm telling you. But I learned to put a mask on. And,
Got to,
and, chameleon, I can fit in everywhere. And I remember doing that, and I get off the bus with my little brown bag, and my hair is long, and there's pigeons flying, toilet paper being thrown, and 6 stories high is their cells with bars, catwalks.
Yeah.
And I remember they're hollering what they're going to do to me, and and I'm thinking, man, what did I get myself into here?
Uh-huh.
But I sat there, and I was supposed to go to Lebanon, and I did go to Lebanon. It's a newer prison, reformatory, brand new. Mansfield had no running water. They had a shower, and what the shower was like a big garage with copper pipe with holes in it, and they turn it on. There'd be about 300 people in there taking a shower at once.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can imagine.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. it
Because that
was-
place has been
for 1800s.
around- Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They filmed the Shawshank Redemption there, like
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah, and so I got in trouble because I usually I didn't have my mom and dad bringing me no money. I wasn't no player, no girls. I was a heathen. So I didn't have nobody gonna come up and take a risk of bringing me something.
Yeah.
And I wasn't gonna be no punk. So there's I turned to violence to get what I wanted. And if you had something and I wanted it, cut me in or cut it out. And I used to wear this as a badge of honor, thinking it was tough. But I remember putting bars of soap in socks and using that for a weapon or lock in a sock, and that will get somebody's attention.
Oh, yeah.
And I got in trouble for carrying shank. I had no problem with stabbing you if I had to, and that's where I'm at now in my life. I do heroin any chance I get now. So I'm doing pills. I'm drinking. I'm a trash can.
Yep.
I just take whatever I want. But I
Yeah.
like that warm fuzzy feeling of the downers give me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it gives me speed at first, and then it's 4 a.m. and then I don't know what happens.
And is that stuff all readily available inside prison?
Yeah, it's not. It ain't so much like the streets, but yeah, you can get it there. There's movements. A lot of the guards bring it in.
Yeah.
I mean, if something happened in the prison, they locked it down. or searching it, it'd be dry for a week or two. But yeah, once you
The Mental Defectives podcast is brought to you by Milligram's new single, a grungy pop-punk emo anthem for the ages. Listen to Milligram's new single on all streaming platforms.
get out and moving around, you can get whatever you want. And you know, I got in so much trouble there, they sent me back to Mansfield, and you know, I wound up doing 3 years, my first time in prison, and I got out, and you're supposed to report to a parole officer, you know, not drink, not drug, and go to work. And
Yep.
I wasn't having none of that. First day out, I was a parolee at large. I didn't report, so they had a warrant out for me my first day.
Oh wow.
And so I was on the run, and I you know, and then after a while, stealing stuff and cashing it in, like the copper and stealing TVs, all that, I didn't have time for that. I started playing with guns and sawed-off shotguns, and I started. I figured, you know, because smart guy I am, I figured go to the source. Guys, back in the 70s, there was a lot of people. They probably do it now. A lot of people sell drugs out of their house.
Sure.
You know, and I remember I would go have a coat on or something, hide my sawed-off shotgun, knock on the door, thinking I was going to cop, and I'd go in and rob them. And I can tell you a lot of that was sad because there was kids in there,
Yeah.
you know, family, you know, and then sometimes it went bad. Sometimes they fought, and you know, bad things happen. You know, a few times I got beat up and didn't get nothing, and so it's not always what you think. It's really a lot of that too. It's consequences that I remember. I still feel today. When I lay my head down at night, I still recall some of that.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for House of Hope and my meetings, I don't think I'd forgive myself. I don't know if I could have got sober
Yeah.
because it was a lot of guilt.
Oh yeah, because it's a lot of people that we hurt. You know, when we're out there, whether we mean to or not, whether they're doing good things or bad things, like, because you figure this is a drug dealer, like they know the deal, they're in the game. Like if they get a gun shoved in their face, that's on them. But then, like you said, like there's kids or like the wife or whoever that's an innocent party in it. It's just crazy, but we don't think about that when we're out there
Not
doing
at
the
all.
deal. It's like you're in between me and the thing I need to get, so
Yeah.
then you need to be moved out the way.
Yeah.
And you were doing that all by yourself?
Yeah, at first I was, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then I got caught for parolee at large. Got sent back to prison. This time they revoked my parole, but instead of sending me to reformatory, they sent me to prison. And I went to a London correctional facility.
Oh, yeah.
And I was down there, and nothing changed. I was in trouble all the time. I was still in line, cheating in there, and fighting, and you know, that's what I started doing, and I thought that was all right. And I can truly say, after a while, it didn't matter what happened, and I didn't care if I got hurt. It was that frame of mind I was in. You know, by now too, I'm getting institutionalized.
Yeah, sure.
I'm more comfortable inside than I am outside.
Yeah.
And people didn't. I tell people that, and they look, "Well, you crazy?" Well, yeah, I'm a little crazy. Yeah, I mean, I really was.
Oh, sure.
And
Because so now you're like mid-20s. It's
Yep.
the late 70s.
Yep, about
And you
77, 78.
Okay, and so you've done 6 years or 7 at this point
Well,
already.
I've done the 3, then I did 4. Yeah, about 6.5 years.
Yes, I mean that's a good chunk. That's the majority of your adult life behind bars. Like, yeah, that's
Yeah. Well, it gets worse.
okay. Was there had like gang culture made it to the
No,
Ohio
not-
prison system by that point,
There
or
was gangs. There was like the Aryan Brotherhood and the Muslims and the
Yeah.
Black Panthers. But the Hispanics and all that wasn't real big. There wasn't hardly too many of them locked up.
yeah,
Yeah.
And the ones that was stayed to themselves, and it was usually black and white fighting
Yeah.
and trying to get the drug deal and the sissies to work for them and all that. What I mean by that is they press these people into having sex
Yeah.
and
Right.
doing things, having them do things.
Right.
And they try to control that too. It's a different world in there.
Yeah.
And I remember doing these robberies, and it started going bad, and there's probably no place in Columbus, especially the west side, that I can go that somebody ain't trying to take my head off or try to get back at me. I mean, I sat in the bar, and there's within a couple hours somebody's coming in that don't like me, and there's going to be trouble. And that's where I was at. I didn't have no friends. I mean, even the guys that was crooks didn't really want to be around me because they didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I messed up, and I got a sawed-off shotgun with me. That ain't normal. So, and that's how I started living. And then after a while, I got what did I do? I got caught with that sawed-off shotgun, and they give me a CCW charge, and I got sent to the old OP for what was it, a year flat,
Just off the.
the gun, yeah,
Yeah.
and so I get out of there, and we go to they have a pre-release center. They show you how to get jobs and fill out applications, and how to be a human being. How to act when you get out and work and go to school or something.
Because up to this point, you've known is crime and being incarcerated. So like, you haven't had like an apartment
Getting a
yet
job.
or a job or
Yeah.
A car, nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it went on for a few years, and I remember going to them classes, and I hooked up. They have his co-ed. I don't know who thought of that.
Some genius.
Yeah,
Right.
but I pulled me a hostage out of that. But she
Okay.
pulled me a
Yeah.
hostage, me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and she was from Cleveland, and we was getting out about the same time. So we got out, and we stayed in Columbus, and I was trying to do my deal. She walked the streets. She was a prostitute, and that's how she got her hustle on. And it started getting bad. Nobody had even opened the door. I didn't have nowhere else to go. And everybody by then. I mean, I'm doing this the last 3 or 4 years. And I've done drugstores. And doing things like that, but. Because back then they didn't have none of the drugs in the safe. You can get out there on the counter on the bottles back in the late 70s, but they changed that.
Yes.
And
So you can just walk in a pharmacy, shove a gun in
Jump-
someone face,
jump
jump the
over the
counter,
counter
and
and-
there's all the good stuff right there. Now they have like the time release safes and like,
Yeah.
Yep.
man, okay.
Yeah. So at that time I'm doing these Dilatas and Ritalins or Percocets and Ritalins. I'm shooting them up.
Okay.
And that's what I'm doing. And then if I can't get that, I go get some cheap heroin. And me and her, and so it gets bad, and so she decides, let's go to Cleveland. I know nobody up there knows me. I'm thinking, man, that's a good idea. I go up there, and nobody will know me. She knows where most of them at. She's lived there all her life. So we go up there, and I start doing that, and it didn't turn out real good. I remember the very first time I did it down there. I walked in, and the next thing I knew, there was somebody beside me blasting me. And I don't know why they didn't kill me, but they took my gun, and they stomped me,
Yeah.
threw me out,
Mm-hmm.
and said, if I ever see you again, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
And so that was awakening, but I kept doing it, and a few more times it got bad. I didn't get what I needed. And she's getting mad because I'm not getting no.
You're not
stuff.
showing
not
up with.
contributing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she said, well, I'm tired of taking care of you.
Right.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, is that right? And I said, so I just take her stuff and leave. So you go out and get yours. You don't cut me off like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you don't know who you're messing with. So I do that, and I'm sitting in a bar one night up there on the west side of Cleveland. think it was called Charlie's, if I'm mistaken. That's where I always went. It's an old dive, drink draft beer, 50 cents.
Yeah.
Back in the day. And I was sitting in there, and next thing I know, this guy named Jimmy walked in. And the reason I say this is since juvenile, every time I was in jail incarcerated, Jimmy was either there or he came in right after. And we hung out together. We had each other's back. He was my dog, and so we was doing that, and we started kicking doors in together, and it started to turn out a little better. I had somebody watching my back, and there was two of us, so they didn't want to, know stuff, and
Right.
and we found a place we want to call it living. It was on West 54th in Detroit. Back in the late 70s, that was like the bottoms were 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Abandoned
Yeah.
houses and drugs and prostitution and all that. And there was this house right there on West 54th in Detroit, and we took it over. It didn't have no windows in it, no front door, no running water. It had an old mattress we used for the front door. We put stuff in front of the windows to keep the breeze out, because it's winter at this
Yeah.
time.
Oh,
It's
freezing
cold up
cold.
there by the lake.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And we had an old nice filthy couch that we sat in and did our stuff. And so we hit a lick that night. We come back to the place, and we're gonna get our warm fuzzy feeling on and count what kind of money we got and what we all got and split it up. And but right then we have straps on that mattress so it don't fall off. Somebody tried to kick it in, and they did kick it in.
It's a mattress on a strap. It's gonna be an
And we
easy.
figured what was going on. So
Yeah.
they came in, and it turned into a shootout.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was crazy. They were shooting at us, and we were shooting at them. And I don't know if you ever been in a room like that, but I mean, you could even taste the gunpowder from that, and
Yeah.
and the noise, the ringing in your ear, and a couple of them got shot. I got my eye and my nose about half cut off. A little scar there now, but and from the ricocheting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
How many guys were?
There was 3 of them.
Okay, so it's 3 against 2. What
Yeah.
kind of guns did you and Jimmy have?
Well, Jimmy had a 9mm.
Okay.
I had to sawed off. I got shot at once, and I tore up their legs, 2 of them. And then the other one stood shooting, and Jimmy got hit in the head and died.
Oh,
He got
damn.
killed.
Jeez.
Yeah, and so it was bad.
Yeah.
And I there was a kitchen right behind us, and I hid behind that kitchen when he was still shooting, because all I had was that sawed off, and I didn't have, and he left, and one of the other guys stumbled out. The other guy laid there. He had a lot of blood on his legs and his stomach, and so I grabbed what I could. This is a good friend I am, and I left Jimmy laying there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
like I said, with consequences, and that bugs me a lot.
Yeah.
So I pray a lot about it nowadays. But I mean, what's done is done. I know that. But anyway, I'm thinking I'm gonna get these guys back. I'm gonna kill every one of them. They don't know who they mess with.
And you know.
Yeah, I know who
Who-
it was.
yep.
Yeah. We just robbed them, and we copped off them a few times before we robbed them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they know us, and
Yeah.
and
Right.
So I'm debating. I mean, my face is all tore up. I got a few cuts from boards they shoot, and the ricochet.
Or just like shrapnel. From,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I got a few pieces of that in me, and that you know how lucky I am, not getting a bullet.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
It's just some people it's hard to believe, and it's a lot of that's happened to me a lot, and I truly believe it's my higher power. I mean, because it ain't luck had nothing to do with it. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can be a little lucky.
Even talking about like getting your face cut up, like you're a quarter inch away from that hitting your eye, and then
Yeah.
that's a wrap.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's crazy.
Yeah, and
The Mental Defectives podcast is proudly brought to you by the House of Hope. Since 1959, the House of Hope has provided substance use disorder treatment focused on long-term recovery.
Services include short and long-term residential treatment for men, certified recovery housing, and outpatient programs for men and women. Using individual and group counseling, CBT, DBT, adventure therapy, financial literacy, and employment services, House of Hope helps individuals rebuild their lives.
Visit hofhope.org or call today to schedule a consultation.
Now let's get back to the episode.
I'm going to go to my mom's house. I'm going to try to heal up, go there, get my act together. That's what tough guys do, remember? They go to mommy's house.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a car. I got some pills, a little bit of cash, and I always had a bottle of Jack Daniels. And I drank that, and I'm walking down 71, going south to Columbus, and I'm thumbing, and mind I ain't took a bath or nothing. My eyebrows hanging out off of my face, and my nose is I got blood everywhere, and I'm thumbing.
So 71 South.
Yeah.
A major U.S. highway.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these people stopped and going to give me a ride.
They fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, they freaked out. They went, "Oh my God, you need help?"
You need help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said, "No." I said, "I just need to go somewhere to get warm." And
Yeah.
and I got in, and they weren't sure they should have let me in. So
Yeah.
I probably didn't go a mile, and they said, "Please, you got to get out." And so I did.
Yeah.
And I got out, and I freaked them out,
Yeah.
and of course I did.
Sure.
I don't know what all I said to him because I was really intoxicated. So I'm walking and I'm thinking, man, what am I going to do? Because it dawned on me that all this blood and stuff, and I'm thinking, man. So I'm walking and there's an L&K restaurant right off the highway. And so a big idea, I'm going to go in there and get something to eat and warm up. Maybe use the bathroom to try to clean this up because I really didn't realize how bad I looked.
Sure.
And, and I wasn't feeling a whole lot I was feeling some, but the narcotics had me, I was numb.
Yeah.
And so I walk in there and they said the same thing. Are you all right? You need help? I said, no, I would like to use the bathroom to wash up and maybe order something. They kind of looked at me funny and, I went to the bathroom and washed, and I seen the hunk of my eye and my nose had a big gash in it. And I picked some stuff out of my arm and I washed what I could, but my eye was still bleeding and my nose was bleeding a little bit, so blood kept coming out.
Yeah.
And so I wiped off and I sat down at the table. And there was like, if I remember right, there was maybe 2 or 3 of these truck drivers in there. And there was a waitress and the manager. And I learned this later after I was arrested and all this, but I decided to rob it. That'd be a good idea, ain't it?
Right.
Well, I'm on 71 North, no car, and I'm gonna rob this place. I don't know where I'm at.
And then go where?
Yeah.
Right. No car, no nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do this, and the waitress got wind up. I guess I stabbed her in the arm because she was moving too slow. They told me,
Yeah.
Oh.
and I don't really remember that. I do remember the manager coming at me and trying to tackle me, and I stabbed him in the shoulder with the steak knife.
Yeah.
And so I made him drive me. I kidnapped him. I made him drive me, and I told him to get on 71. And within 5 minutes,
Right.
they had me surrounded.
Yeah.
I mean, and we drove probably 40, 50 miles. We just right outside of Columbus, and him and the police was making eye contact. I was just laying back in the seat with holding a knife at him, saying, "You do anything stupid, I'm gonna cut your head off." And he was he was probably sizing me up, saying, "Man, you ain't no shape to do nothing." And
And you didn't use the gun at all in this?
no, I left the gun there.
Okay.
And once I was a mess when that happened. I didn't, all I wanted was the drugs.
Yeah.
And so next thing you know, they they wrecked the car, and they next thing you know, there's guns all over me. They pull me out, and they stomp on me. They beat my ass pretty good, and I don't feel a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, then
Thankfully.
I wound up at the Richland County Jail in Mansfield, and that's where they took me back to, and because that's where the restaurant was, I guess. And I'm sitting there, and they're trying to talk to me, and I told them I ain't got nothing to say to you. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, they caught me with the guy I kidnapped, got me with the money,
Right.
with the knife,
Yeah.
and then they found the pills I had on me and some of the cash I had on me. You know, other than what I had from the robbery, you know, I think there was like $300.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I got.
Right.
And anyway, so after a couple of days, I get called back down to the detective's office. They want to talk to me, and I'm not on that. I don't really want to talk to them, and they're telling me that, you know, they got me for a lot of stuff. They're charging me with stuff in Columbus and in Cleveland, armed robberies, and felonious assault.
Do they know about the shootout?
Yes,
Oh.
and they're going to charge me with Jimmy's death, involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah.
Because it was committed in a felony.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm responsible, they say, and so there's all kinds of charges. I'm probably armed robbery, kidnapping, felonious assault, involuntary manslaughter, possession of narcotics,
Kidnapping, evading.
kidnapping. Yep, invading.
Damn. Yeah, that's.
Man.
And so yeah, I'm in deep.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not getting out for a while.
Yeah.
And so I sat in there for the longest, and you ever been in a county jail, there ain't a whole lot of warm, fuzzy feelings you can get in there. And I fought it, and then my, you know, the stubbornness out of me, I'm thinking I ain't getting nowhere. You know, they're not going to really make a deal with me. They're going to, you know, I'm going to prison for a while.
Yeah.
And so I went ahead and copped out to 14 to 50 years. Wow. And I thought it was a deal. But that's my thinking.
Right.
And I get sentenced to 14 to 50 years, and they shipped me to the old OP, and that's where they classified it back in there. This is I think 79 now.
Okay.
Just close to being 1980. Man, I'm old.
So it's okay. So it's 1980. You're like 30 at this point.
Yes, I'm about how old am I? I'm born in 59, 69. I'm probably about 26, 27.
Okay.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
And then you're in that county jail, sitting in there for a while. I'm
Yeah,
imagining they
about
get
a
you
year and a half.
They get your face stitched up, and then you're
Yep,
in there
they
kicking
took me
cold
to
turkey.
the infirmary, you know, the hospital.
Yeah.
And they sewed me up, and I stayed 2 days in the hospital, and they shipped me back to the county jail.
Mm-hmm.
So they asked me why I was trying to kill myself, because I had so much dope in me. You know, they said, I don't know how you didn't OD. Because I was out of it. I remember going into the jail, and I was still out of it because all I wanted to do was sleep, and the detectives kept bothering me, and all I wanted to do was sleep, and get a warm fuzzy feeling. I thought that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, I get to the OP, and they classify me there. That's where I'm going to do my time. And I thought, wow, this is cool. It's, you know, I get up on the big block and look out them bars, and there's the west side there. You know, and most of the guards I know, they're from the West Side or Columbus, but ain't none of them like me because I did something and they know my reputation, so I'm not liked a whole lot. And so I start doing there, and I start doing what I do. I got into stuff. I'm chasing dope. I'm trying to make hooch. I'm doing everything that I'm not supposed to be doing in there because I don't care no more.
Yeah.
And I'm at the point where I don't even think I'm gonna get out of here alive. I mean, and that's, you know, it's a shame to say that, but that's where I was at. And then in 1984 they closed it, the old OP, and I got reclassified to Southern Correctional Facility at Lucasville.
Okay.
So I went down to Lucasville, and I remember getting off the bus, and down there you go to R block. It's R block. It's a receiving block. You go there for a couple weeks. You ain't in population. They classify you to whatever cell you're going in, whatever cell block, in your job, and they give you your clothes, and they do a medical check on you, make sure you don't need psych meds and that. And I probably should have, but I didn't. I tried to get some, but they wouldn't go for it.
Need some Klonopin,
Right.
There you go. They wasn't having that. So I remember going to that when I first got there. Before I went to receiving, there was this dude, big old dude, big old black dude, been pumping iron probably for 10 years.
Yeah.
He's huge, and he tells me I'm gonna be his girlfriend. And I went, oh hell no, here we go. I'm thinking, damn, what am I gonna do here?
Right.
But I'm thinking, I'm going receiving for 2 weeks. He's just cutting it up. Him and the guys are just, trying to scare somebody. And I didn't let him know, but I was a little worried. I'm thinking, man, that dude could hurt me. Mm-hmm. But I went there, and after 2 weeks, I'm going. They classify me to L block, and I think it was L54. I went in. It's wild you can remember that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I get my stuff, and I'm walking down the corridor, and there he is. He said, "What did I tell you, white boy?" And I said, "Man," I ain't on this. Go on. And he swung on me. And so I fought him, and he beat the brakes off of me. So now I'm going to the infirmary, and then I'm going to the hole. Mm-hmm. So this keeps happening. Every time I get out, he won't take no for an answer. I don't know what's wrong with the dude.
Yeah.
But I'm not giving up. I just have to fight. You have to kill me.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my mentality.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it is what it is. And so I'm in this cell with this. He was an Aryan brother. He's in the Aryan Brotherhood, and he's an older guy. He's probably in his 60s. He's been down there for, I think, like 30 years. He's never getting out. He's the lifer. And he's real skinny and little, and he just running his mouth. You got to do something to him, because he's a black dude and all that. There's real racist down there.
Right.
And he's telling me, you can't stay with me if you don't do something to him. And he's screaming. And down there, it was off the hook. You could get almost anything you wanted. It's maximum security prison. And on the outside, there's L1 through L8. And when they break for chow, they let each block out one after another. And the halls are filled. And it's crazy. So all the stuff happens. That's where you do your stuff at. And so this guy always went to the chow hall. And there's 2 chow halls down there, white and a black. That's how racist it was back in them days.
Sure.
And he was always in the black line with this harem of sissies, I guess you call them. Don't disrespect anybody, but
Right.
it is what it is, I guess. And he's always there with them, standing in line, getting his chow. And so I'm listening to this guy tell me what I got to do, and I'm eating Valiums and I'm drinking moonshine. I've been up all night, and I'm listening to him. He's all wired up too, and he's doing some kind of speed. I don't know what he got, but. And that's a lot of things I did. I did a lot of stuff for them guys, moving stuff. And that's how I got my drugs. Moving knives here, taking drugs here, or busting this guy in the head, and that's what I was doing. And but anyway, I'm
How do they get recruit you into that? Is it just like as simple as like, hey, you want
they pull
4
up on-
volume?
well,
Bring the shank to this guy.
What they do is they kind of check you out. And right away when I started fighting that big old dude, they seen that.
Oh, that probably got you on their radar.
So I was a solid white boy.
Okay.
And I didn't run there, ask for help or nothing. And a few of them pulled up on me and said, "Man, you ought to join us." He said, "We think you're solid." And I said, "No, I don't want to." And they didn't particularly care for that. So I got off on the wrong side of them. But there was a couple guys in there that I moved stuff for and did stuff for.
The Minnesota Defectives podcast is brought to you by Ride Sober, an online community for sober bikers.
At RideXSober on social media and RideXSober.com.
Check them out today for apparel like t-shirts, hoodies, hats, riding gloves, and garage banners.
Ride sober, boldly sober.
Boldly sober.
That's how I got my stuff. So that's really how it went. And but anyway, back to this dude. I'm drinking and I'm high as a kite, and I get a shank. I carry a knife. Shank's a knife.
Oh, yeah.
It's homemade. It's a bed spring. And I got it sharpened. And I got a bunch of tape on the end of it.
Yeah.
And I carry that. And I go to stuff it in me, and I go to chow hall. I'm gonna, I'm thinking about. I was gonna kill my cellie. This is serious. This is what I'm thinking. To shut him up. They tired of his run his mouth. And so I get out and I go to chow, and I'm gonna take. This is gonna stop because I'm in the hole. I can't get nothing. It's
So this guy testing you is in between you and getting high. So then he got
I'm
out.
going to the hole, and
Right.
And it just got. I mean, it was all the time, and so I seen him in the chow hall, and I ran in and attacked him, and I stabbed him. They said I stabbed him 5 times, and I paralyzed him.
Oof.
I didn't kill him, and I got an outside case for that, and after that, I was in local control. That is the hole for probably 18, 19 months.
Sure.
Every 90 days, I'd go in front of a committee, and they'd say, you're going back. They kept me locked up, isolated, and talk about nerve-wracking. All I did was push-ups and set-ups and talk to myself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be
Yeah, that was rough.
Torture.
Yeah.
So in a 6x12 cell,
I couldn't
and
imagine.
you didn't have a TV.
Nothing.
You go and had very few things to read, and I wasn't a real good reader because I didn't go to school. So
Right.
I stayed in my head a lot.
Not a good
No, it's not good.
place
Yeah.
to be. Yeah.
And so I got out of there, and it was their gangs was after me, and I was after them. They'd assault me, I'd assault them. So it was going to be just about the same. And then this went on for the next 16 years.
Jeez.
Yeah, and maybe 14, because I'm swinging with. I'm in fights. I've been stabbed a couple times, and and I'm at the point where I go to bed every night and I'm numb, I'm empty, and I'm lost. And I don't. There's nothing to look forward to, and I'm just in that demoralization.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish I was dead, but I'm not. I don't have the courage to do anything like that. So I'm hoping one of these batches would take me out, heroin or something, or maybe one of these guys would take me out.
Yeah.
And so I had. That's what my head was. I mean, it's where this disease took me.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing that, and then in April of actually it was Easter of '93, there was a riot down there, and it was on L side too, the side I'm on, and they took over the institution. The Muslims and the Aryan Brotherhood, they got together, and and back there didn't have enough staff anyway, and it was Easter Sunday, so they was real low on staff. So they overtook L5, got the guard, and broke into the other block, because there was these safe houses for the guards. There's a door with concrete block, and they got weights and beat that hole in the thing and got him. They had 2 guards, and they took over the whole L block.
Damn.
And for 11 days it was hell. It was well, you can imagine alcoholism, drug addiction, and mental illness, untreated.
Running rampant, but all confined
Yes.
Yeah.
in there with each other. It's a miracle you survived that 11
they're
days.
beating each other, they're stabbing each other. It's total chaos.
Yeah.
And well, they killed that guard.
Yeah.
They killed
Sure.
the guard down there. You know?
Man.
and actually he was one of the cooler ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but and I wasn't on. What I did, I protected what I had.
Yeah.
And I got in a few skirmishes because the black dudes was after me too, and and I stood my ground, and I let them know I have this, and a few of them tried me. I got fights, and then they was just tearing up the place. They tore the sinks out, toilets, and they just destroyed it. Then after about 11 days, they got control back of the penitentiary, and they busted us all on different buses, and I winded up at Chillicothe in the hole down there, and they taking DNA tests to see who was involved, because there's quite a few inmates that got killed. It's kind of hush hush, but a few of them got killed down there, and the CO, the correction officer, and so I'm sitting in there, and I'm not getting anything for my drugs. I'm withdrawal. I was sick for about 10 days. It's about the third week I'm laying in there, and it's weird. I started thinking I got a brother and 2 sisters, and I got nephews and nieces that's teenagers I've never seen. And I'm wondering to myself, I wonder what that'd be like to be married and have a job and not this.
Yeah.
And I believe that's God is trying to restore me to sanity. And so I started thinking like that, and I wish I could say I changed right away, but I didn't. My phone. I went to, they transferred me to, reclassed me to Mansfield, a newer prison. And I went there, and I stayed there. It wasn't so hectic because most of them guys that I was
From
beefing
Lucasville
with,
or in different
institutions.
Okay, so this is actually
Yeah, this is good. This
in
is
a fucked up way.
yeah, it saved me.
Yeah.
This is what got me on the right track. Believe it or not, this is God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself.
And what kind of additional charge or like time did they tack on
Give me 10 more years for
that stabbing? The guy got
for
paralyzed.
felonious assault.
Yeah.
Yep, and they ran it with my sentence.
Not concurrent, but
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
And so I'm doing that, and it's not real hectic. I still getting in stuff. I'm still doing what I do, moving
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm fighting every once in a while to get what I want, and and that's just what I do. And everybody asks me too, why ain't you got a bunch of tattoos and all that? You in prison? Everybody's got. I said no. I said my cigarettes in commissary went to dope. I didn't want that's because I had a couple cellies that did tattoo, and then they wanted too much money. I was greedy.
Yeah.
And
Can't be blowing money on
Right.
tattoos.
I got a drug habit to
Yeah,
support.
yeah. And then did you go into Newark with like? Did that help out like your reputation? Be like, oh, he's like a Lucasville guy. He was there during the riots. Like, don't mess with him.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, I had a reputation. They call me Benny.
Okay.
Down there, Columbus Benny. And, some people call me Wild Man. A lot of the black guys did. And that's the rep I got.
Yeah.
Because I was, and don't get me wrong, I got my bell rung quite a few times.
yeah.
And that's how I learned how to equalize her. And so anyway, I'm doing that bit, and in 1999 I get paroled after 19 years.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm lucky I only did 19 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I mean, really, and
Yeah.
I think if this would have happened nowadays, I probably never seen the streets. They'd kill me in there now at my age, and I'm still in there. The way it is now, it's twice as bad. And so I get out, and I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I would report to my parole officer. That's the first time I ever did that.
Okay. We're learning.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
So I reported, and
Yeah.
he's giving me these pills to make me sick if I drink.
Oh.
Okay. And
Yeah.
abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I couldn't
interviews.
think of. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
good at names. Yeah.
Yeah.
And excuse me.
And Okay, so you went in 79, came out in or
99.
80 or what?
Yeah,
but
it
came
was-
out in 99. So it's a whole different world.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There's
20
cell
years.
phones. There's cell
Almost
phones.
20
There's
years.
internet.
Yeah.
Like this
Oh,
is
yeah.
a whole.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I don't.
Yeah.
This
I
has
don't-
got to be
Yeah.
crazy
And,
culture shock.
and on that, I can't read or write. I quit school in the 5th grade. I'd go to the detention center, and whatever age I was, that's the grade they put me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd go in the front door and out the back because even if I wanted to learn, I didn't know. I was too far behind. I didn't understand what they was wanting.
Sure.
In my reading, I could hardly read. Mm-hmm. And when I got out, that started bothering me.
Sure.
Because back then they still had the paper applications, and I didn't know how to figure out how to do that. Mm-hmm. And so I got my cousin got me a job at Hilliard Fairgrounds. I'm driving a tractor with a spreader on the back
Yeah.
and throwing horse shit on cow stuff on the fields. And so I get off there, and I get off, and now I'm instead of eating them pills, I'm sliding the pills up in my lip, hiding
Whipping
them,
them. Yeah.
and spitting them out when he leaves.
Yeah.
And he's not. Cause for a while I took him, and he seen it, and he got kind of slack on it,
Yeah.
and so after a few days that out of my system, I get off work and I go to the keg room. It's a bar after work, and I'm going to drink a beer. I'm thinking, man, I don't know why you don't let me drink. I'm fine. I'm going to drink a few beers and go home, go to work next day.
Sure.
I ain't got a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And bigger than shit, he shows up
Oh.
At the bar.
at the bar.
Oh my gosh.
So this is, you guys ain't gonna believe this, but he told me, dude, he said, what are you doing with them pills? I said, I've been taking them. He said, well, no shit. He said, I catch you in this bar or any bar or drinking any beer. He said, you're going back to jail. And he told me to get out.
Mm-hmm.
So I took my butt home. I walked home. Of course, I didn't still have a car. And so next day, I go to work. I get off work. I go back to the keg room, have a beer. And he shows up.
This dude's
He came
persistent.
back.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
I'm thinking, man, he ain't gonna show up. He ain't
Right,
gonna-
he ain't
No
gonna show
way,
up
2 days in a
twice.
row,
No.
yeah.
He did, and he flipped out on me.
Oh, I bet he did.
Yeah, he cuffed me, put me in his car, and he was about ready to send me back to jail.
And how much time did you have hanging over your head at this point?
Probably I did probably 30 more years.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, my
29,
God.
28, something like that.
Right.
And so he lets me go again, and he tells me, he said, Hugh, I'm not bullshit. And what I found out, he was an alcoholic too.
Okay.
Ah.
Okay.
So, and
He knew the deal.
He's been trying to tell me,
Uh-huh.
you need to go get help.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
you need to go to these meetings, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking, man, you're nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with me. I
Right.
wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't shooting dope. I
Right.
wasn't robbing.
Right.
I wasn't even stealing.
Yeah.
And I'm out. I feel like my skin crawls sometimes. So I go to work, get off work, I go back to the keg room.
A third
Third
time.
time.
And with 20 or 30 years hanging over your head. Like you're not going to get a slap.
Yeah.
Like that's the disease is so
Yeah.
insidious.
I
Like
don't know how not to drink.
yeah,
You're right.
There's no other
Right.
option. Yeah.
And if I didn't drink, I was, my anxiety and everything was out of control, and it made it worse actually after I drank more. But anyway, he showed up again. You'd think,
Uh-huh.
dude, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And he put me in jail. I went to the county jail. They had a revocation hearing, and they sent me back to prison for going in front of the parole board. And they give me 3 more years. Yeah. And that's my my journey of prison and what it was like.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of long, but it was, that was my life from
Yeah.
the time I was 12 years old to the time I was 46, 47.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I do that, and I start. Man, it's rough. I get out of there after the 3 years, and while I was in there too, I kind of kind of chilled. You know, and I'm still thinking about what it'd be like to have a normal life.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't get yet that drugs and alcohol and my mental illness is not treated, and I will never get right until then. But I don't know this yet.
Right.
And
And there was no like treatment in lieu of conviction option, or they didn't try and
no,
give you
they,
any kind
no,
of like.
no, I couldn't even go to school for 6 years. I wasn't allowed to do nothing but time because I had so much time.
Man.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Because it's like violent crimes,
Yep,
or
yep.
because it's
Well, it's violent, and I had just too much time to go to the board, so I went to the pro board. So they didn't want me mingling because you had down there in Lucasville, they even had a couple women teachers. Actually, one of them got killed down there while I was there.
oh my
Oh,
god,
wow.
in the
Yeah.
riot or just
No,
a
just
separate event.
Separate event.
Jesus.
Yeah, Miss Taylor was her name. And but anyway, I get out and I'm.
So I'm sorry. So in this last like 2-3 year bid, like, are you still like drinking and doing drugs and fighting in there? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, but not as much. The fights come up with me ripping somebody off. You know, I'd go. The guys have stores, they call them.
Yeah.
And I get 2 for 1. I get 2 for 1 and don't pay them back.
Yeah.
I say, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Get it off the water tower. You know, and we commenced to going at it. So needless to say, nobody else would mess with me after a while.
Right.
Yeah, you probably burned
Right.
those bridges
Yeah,
pretty
I'm
quick.
not giving you nothing. Get out of here.
Yeah.
You know, and but I was doing that, and then I get out, and I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get things right. And my cousin owns Bosco Mechanical. He does sheet metal, does Walmarts, puts rooftops and ductwork and all that in it, and he gives me a job. So I'm going up and down the Eastern Seaboard, all these Walmarts, and doing that, living in a hotel. So I'm drinking, I'm drugging, and I'm calling my parole officer.
And they're letting you go travel.
Yeah, they let me get a job. He actually told me, he said it's just going to be, you're going to go back to prison. He said my hands are tied. He said you just won't learn. And I went to his supervisor, and my cousin went there and vouched for me. He said, yeah, it's a legit job, and and they let me, and and it was we stayed high. That's where I learned about crack.
Oh Lord.
So I'm a trash can, and I did that, and then while I was down there, we was in Bradford, Pennsylvania.
Oh my god, because you were incarcerated the whole like crack era.
Yeah, until I got out, and then it was like, wow.
What is this?
Oh my god, I'm my dumbass. So you got cell phones and
yeah.
Google, and you're like, no,
He's
you
like,
also
no,
miss crack.
crack.
Like that's crazy. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
That crack never made it inside the pen in Lucasville.
No. I never seen it. I never heard of it until I kind of heard of it in Mansfield. They was talking about it, but we never got it in. If we did, I didn't have nothing. No,
Right.
And I didn't know anybody doing it.
It was still
Yeah.
just heroin and pills.
Yeah, heroin and pills
maybe
and
powder.
hooch. Yep.
Hooch. Okay.
Yep. And so I'm in Bradford, Pennsylvania, and I'm at a bar. We get off work, and I go to the bar, and this guy got a bunch of cocaine, and I rip him off. I take it from him,
Yeah.
and I go back to the same bar. I'm notorious for this. And I'm sitting in there drinking, and I don't have nothing on me. I ain't carrying no weapon or nothing.
Yeah.
And this guy comes in, him and 2 buddies, and they're Hispanic. I can't really understand them a whole lot. And then one of them said, "Why you do that to him? Why you do that to him?" And I knew there's something happened, so I sucker punched him, and I knocked him down, and he came up stabbing. So I went to a knife fight without a knife.
Yeah.
And I got 5 stab wounds in my leg. I got one underneath my arm. He kind of got my forehead.
Damn.
So I powered him, and one of the guys hit him with a chair, and he went out him and his buddies went outside, but I passed out, loss of blood. And I woke up in the hospital, and they was trying to get my underneath here to stop bleeding because I had so much narcotics in me. My blood was so thin.
So thin.
Almost bled to death.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I was in there about 2 or 3 days, and I went home, and my mom's on her couch. Good old mom.
Yeah.
And I remember her telling me, she looked me in the eye and said, you know, you're supposed to bury me. I'm not supposed to bury you. And the next day, I'm laying there, do what I do, nothing, eating her food. And she tells me, here, talk to these people. And I said, who is it? I don't want to talk to nobody. She goes, shut up and talk to them. So Mom can always talk to me like that now. I kind of bear down for it. And,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so I talked to him. It was the House of Hope.
Mm.
And they tell me, I hear you're having some problems, maybe with drugs and alcohol. I said, well, ain't so much drugs as the alcohol I'm drinking, I guess, now. And he said, won't you come in for evaluation? I'm thinking. And then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, why not try this? If you don't want it, you can always go back to what? Nothing. Prison or death. You know, and I knew that. And so.
And sorry, had you been having like any kind of thoughts like leading up to this of like maybe like drugs and alcohol are a problem, or it's still just like I'm going to do it my way? Like
No, I'm thinking there's an issue with it.
Yeah.
Actually, I started thinking that once I went back to prison, and I thought, man, why did I go back 3 different times?
yeah,
Yeah.
You know, and they had AA there, and I didn't go.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, it was in my mind, and so I go in for the evaluation. It was Andy. He was my counselor. He was my counselor when I got in, and he evaluated me. And if you know Andy, he had this laugh, mouth open, and big old laugh. And I was telling him about me, and he laughed, and I thought, what the hell's so funny? And he just made humor of it.
Yeah.
He told me, yeah, you might need some help. He said, because I told him a lot of my story. He wanted to know, and my mom talked to him a lot too. Told him, and so he told me go home and call him every Monday. Don't drink or drug, and I could not drink. I drank.
yeah.
And a couple Mondays passed, and they said, come in, we got a bed for you. And I went, oh shit, really? My mom had my stuff packed. Ready to go.
Yeah, she did.
So
Suitcases in the car was wrong.
yeah, and that's pretty much what it was. And I went there, and man, I felt out of place. And what the House of Hope is too, it's you get confronted on your behaviors in a group with these guys. And where I come from, that's snitching. You know, you don't do that.
Yeah.
But I got it in my head because I almost got kicked out a few times for being aggressive. And Andy told me, he said, Hugh, he said, where else can you go for 6 months and work on you? He said, keep your hands in your pocket. He said, you're not in prison or the street no more. They're concerning you about your behavior. We want you to change your behavior. And I believe that man. That's the first guy I ever that talked to me, looked me in my eye, and I actually believed what he was telling me. And I went, damn, he is right. And so I took suggestions, and after about 2 months, I started listening to what they were saying about my behaviors, and I tried to change them. And then I worked, the package they give me on different things, and I found out I was bipolar. I had panic attacks and anxiety real bad. That's why my mind kept racing, and that's why I couldn't. I didn't feel normal around people.
Yeah.
Unless I was intoxicated. And I never knew that. And I guess I had this panic attack and anxiety most of my life. And so I got diagnosed with it, and they gave me medicine. And at first I couldn't stay awake. I'd fall asleep in group, and you get in trouble. And but they knew what was going on, so they adjusted it. And Lord and behold, all that noise in my head went away, and I started listening. And I learned about the steps, and I learned about recovery. And they taught me, how to be a man and be responsible for what I'm supposed to do. And all this past I had, I brought a lot of it out. And I got a sponsor while I was in there. and we did the fifth step together, and I told him everything except a few things, and he suggested I go to a priest and talk to a priest about it, and I did, and there's nothing that I did that one human being at least, and God knows about. I don't have no secrets, and that don't sound like much, but it's a big thing for me.
Sure.
Secrets get me sick again.
Yeah.
One secret will lead to another, and then lead to a lie, and I know that. And
It's a slippery slope.
yeah, and it's amazing how going through that for 6 months changed my thought process. And I had them, and I did that fifth step, and I got out, and my sponsor gave me a job. He owned a union sheet metal shop. He was doing really good for himself, and he gave me a job there, and I couldn't read or write or nothing, but and I was struggling, and some of them guys messed with me because I was the boss's buddy, and I about got into it a few times, and he told me, he said, Hugh, what are you gonna do? He said, you gonna be a tough guy, or are you gonna shut your mouth and learn? He said, some of these guys will teach you if you just let them. And so I took suggestions. I kept my mouth shut, and for the longest, all I did was sweep floors and empty trash, the spit platoons and all that. And
Yeah.
but I did it. And then some of the guys started showing me what to do. Taught me how to read a tape measure. I didn't even know how to read tape measure, man.
Sure. Yeah.
And they showed
I
me
still
all
don't.
that, don't you? And so I did that, and I started learning, and I worked there for about 8 years. And it's still in recovery. I'm growing. I have about 8 years of sobriety now.
Nice.
At this time, and I can't compete with the money wise because my education ain't good enough. The school, I couldn't pass geometry and all that to get in the apprenticeship. So I moved, and I went to Ohio Heating, and the owner there gave me a chance to learn, and I went to school, and within a couple years, I had a van. I had 2 credit cards. I had probably $3,000 worth of his tools, and I took them home every night with me. And he trusted me, and I did right. I learned that, and I worked and went to meetings. Try to make amends to a lot of people. Try to forgive myself a lot. I'm still working on a lot of that.
Yeah.
Because my buddy Jimmy, that bothers me
Yeah.
to this day.
Sure.
Why,
Yeah.
But, I also know I can't change it. All I can do is make sure I don't repeat it.
Yeah.
I mean, so I, doing that, and I'm after probably about 9 years there, nine years there, or what is it, 8, something like that, I retire. And I don't have a real big retirement, and I got enough. I buy a car, a nice car, pay it off. I do some work at the house. I'm living with my mom and sister. My mom is elderly now. She can't see out of one eye, and she has trouble getting around. And my sister's schizophrenia, and she's real bad, and she needs somebody watching her. So over these years, I was able to take care of them, and they took care of me too. It was
Yeah.
Sure.
it was two-way street.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing that, and I'm putting money into the house, and about 12 years ago, she wanted me to take over the house so she could live there because I was going to get my own place. And she talked to me and asked me would I stay there so she could stay in her house, because she couldn't keep it up.
Right.
So I did. I made that decision to stay there and look out for him. And what was it, 2023, on August 19th, she passed with liver cancer. And then February the next year, my sister died of pancreatic cancer.
Jeez.
And
Yeah.
I didn't have to drink over it. And
Right.
Yeah.
what I know now is through people.
Hey, Mental Defectives.
Would you like to advertise on our podcast?
If so, email us at mentaldefectivespodcast@gmail.com.
So we can help you make a lot of money.
A whole lot of money.
Showed me that I didn't have to be alone, and I ought to be proud that I got to take care of them.
Right.
My mom and sister got to see me sober for 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big deal. And today I was blessed enough to get retirement, You get Social Security. I do side work, HVAC, get a little money on the side. And I'm fortunate enough I got a job at the House of Hope. And
I heard they'll hire anybody.
Yeah.
Like, it's bad.
yeah.
Well, they will.
I mean, look at us,
Yes,
right?
yeah. Actually, they will too. Yeah. But you got to be sober.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Yes.
And so I get that, and I get to talk to the guys, and it keeps me in the middle, and I get to give back, and they help me as much as I help them. And I got a new promotion not too long ago. They got this living sober. Once you get out of a 6-month program, you go to a 4-month program, and you stay in there, no charge. You can get a part-time job. You just got to go to a group in the morning, and to help you adjust and have money to go to sober living house. So I manage them. I'm oversee all that, and I ride them back and forth to the groups. And so I'm blessed today. After all that I told you, and to have a life that I have today is, and I don't have nobody looking for me that I know of that wants to do me harm.
Yeah.
I've ran into a few people and I thought it'd be hassle, and they told me, thank God you're sober and alive.
Yeah.
He said, we're just glad you're sober. He said, you weren't very nice. And that's what I get to do now. I give my lead. This is different here, but it's kind of cool. I don't feel so nervous with doing this instead of standing up in front of a group of people.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I do. I get up every morning. I go to work. I exercise. I got a dog named Petey. He's my buddy. I still live alone there. I'm at peace. I'm enjoying my life, free and sober, and I get to do things now. And I can't believe how that emptiness, loneliness, and numbness all went away.
Yeah.
I wake up now and I look forward to the day, even when there ain't nothing to do. And that's amazing. My whole outlook on life is different.
And it's crazy, like, all those decades in prison did nothing, but you can do 6 months in the House of Hope and just completely change, like when you're focusing on yourself and working the program, that's just
amazing.
incredible.
Yeah, there's no rehabilitation in prison.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be some now in the AA meeting if you want to, but I wasn't on all that. I was trying to get what I wanted.
Right.
Sure.
The 6 months it was a miracle, and I've got 19 years sober. February, if I stay, I'll have 20 years sober.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I have almost as much time sober as I did locked up.
Because they talk about, like, there's some term for it when you are sober longer than you drank.
I know what you're talking about. I
can't think of the name of it
neither
either.
can I.
But I've never heard one for, like, you've been sober longer than you've been locked
incarcerated.
Up. Be incarcerated. We'll drop
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll drop suggestions in the comments. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but it's true.
Yeah, that's incredible. Oh my God.
And what's funny too is the way I used to think. I don't think like that no more. I don't even have thoughts like that.
Yeah.
I think back at some of the times I lay in bed now and I think of good things.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm blessed. Mm-hmm. And I got a God of my understanding today, and a lot of people, frown on that, but I'm telling you, it's the real deal. And, I'm so blessed. I know I'm blessed. How did I live through that?
Yeah.
Somebody had something else in mind for me. And
100%.
At first I kind of thought, nah.
Yeah.
But the more longer I'm sober and the more I learn there's something.
I mean, there has to be, because you look at, like, how many times, like, all of us should have been, dead or killed or in prison or whatever, but yet here we are, like, there's got to be something.
Yeah, something greater than
free.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
I didn't talk too long, did I?
No.
This is one of the best ones we've done.
Oh no, this is great.
This is so interesting. Like, oh my God. Yeah. Hugh, what advice would you have for somebody coming out of jail or prison? Because it seems like that's such a huge roadblock to people. Like, you spend all this time behind bars, you're institutionalized, and it's like you've got to, you know, it's a whole different mindset on the inside. And then it's just like one day you get released and they're like, here's a $10 bill, figure it out, buddy.
Yeah.
Like,
That's pretty much what they do.
yeah.
I know a lot of people that did it and didn't have no parents or nothing to go to. And what I can say is, give yourself a break and think about, a lot of people don't. They just get out there and they're on the run. They need something. They need to get what they want. They want to get high. And what I suggest is stop and think and look back at what you've been doing. Most of the time, if you're incarcerated, you got a drug problem, alcohol problem, or a mental illness issue, or all three.
Yeah.
And take a look at that and get help with it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Especially if you get out and there's nowhere to go.
Right.
Yeah.
There's places out there will help you now. Go to a meeting. A lot of people can help you. Get in places, recovery houses.
Yeah.
And you can get rehabilitated from that.
Right.
But you gotta want it, and it's gotta be something that up here that you want to change. It's gotta click. Because for years I didn't think I needed to change. Police they're just always hassling me.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my thing would be to reach out for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't go back to where you hung out at. That's key. That was key for me when I got out of the House of Hope. I was feeling pretty good there after them 6 months. And
I bet.
I cut all them strings off. I didn't run around with some of the people I did. I got new friends.
Along that line, what would be a suggestion for somebody early on in recovery for you?
Me would be, first get a sponsor. And work the steps, but also be able to do something besides that. Be good to yourself. And stay in the program. But sometimes you got to treat yourself. You're doing good, and reward yourself. Go get your ice cream or, go bowling. And then you can find out you can do other things besides sit in the bar and play pool or fight.
Right.
And that was the hardest thing for me, to find something to do. It was.
Sure.
Sometimes it still is. I'm kind of a loner. And I got to force myself to be in crowds and all that. So.
Yeah.
But I guess that's just my personality now. But I'm good. I can get out and mingle but that's what I would do. I would tell them, get in the program. If you got an alcohol and drug problem, get help with it. And be straight up. You got to be honest.
Yeah.
What you got to lose? You can always go back to prison or back to the streets. But here there's a chance you can have a life.
Yeah.
I never dreamed I could have a life the way I have it now. I don't have a whole bunch, but what I got is it's a blessing. I got a roof. I got a house.
Yeah.
I got a car it's paid for.
Yeah.
And I just told you everything I went through.
Yeah.
It's doable.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And then last thing, you were saying that you were not a Browns fan and they were the worst team in the NFL and you would never be caught dead watching or rooting for the Browns. What do you mean by that?
I'm a Browns fan.
It's the Mental Defectives podcast. Milligram, Jerry with a G. Hugh is here. We'll see you next time. Peace. If you or someone you know is struggling with drugs or alcohol, contact the House of Hope today
at hofhope.org or call for a consultation.